Testing, testing.
Fuck.
Good morning. Good evening. I'll let a few more people roll in before I get stuck into it. How you doing, Lex? Hey, Johnny, Sarah, Phil, Sean. Good morning. So, it seems we're holding this area, huh? This seems to be holding as support, this this upward trend line here. We've got a bit of a potential inverse head and shoulders happening right now. Who knows how high it's going to take us, but we'll see. Yeah, Johnny, I'm not on the webcam at the moment. I could turn it on. Let me sort it out a second. I don't know how I look right now, but hopefully it's not terrible. Yeah. Damn, it's saying no available input, and it's because I started the stream before I started up the webcam. My bad. I wonder if there's a way to add it in after the fact. Video capture device, maybe? Call it just webcam. Or direct webcam. So this will be like without any kind of effect. It's just going to be the background and me. Where am I pulling it from? Just play around with a couple of things first here. Gotta figure out where it's pulling audio from, or video rather. Okay, so it's not coming from there. these other sections of the camera. Yeah, there we go. It's because of this camera. Alright, I think I fixed it. If I delete that, keep this one, and run, this will work. Okay, I figured it out. I've got my big pilot headphones on. So I can delete the direct webcam and then turn that on. Almost. Hang on a second. Just wait. Oh, there we go. I'm back. How you doing, Clive? Shiba. Remove the background and voila. Hopefully that's working now. Filters. I just go deactivate, then activate. There we go. Now it's working. That took a while. So, what's up, Serrano? Cardano. What do we got? 2 minutes until the daily. 2 minutes until the daily candle close, and we get a new day. So I think the SPY had a pretty good day that has since closed like a couple of hours ago. Had a bit of a recovery. I think it gapped up to begin with. Yeah, a bit of a gap there. Yeah, we'll see where that goes in the coming days. So what, for me, it's Friday for me right now. So US, you guys are like Thursday night, I'm guessing. Whoa, Manny. Thanks for the TA, matey. Keep it coming through 2023. Yeah, most definitely. 2023 is going to be a good year, even though we might be facing like a flat market, or you know, the quote-unquote winter, crypto winter. It's going to be really good for accumulating, right? It's planting seeds. Is 2023. There's a lot of work to be done in 2023, I think. I still think that things are going to be profitable, like to trade. So, you know, there's always going to be opportunities for trades here and there. But yeah, from a macro perspective, we have to wait and see how the S&P, you know, settles down or where it's headed. Yeah, so many factors come into play with the traditional markets, the stock market, right? But yeah, exactly, Serrano. Always money to be made. So I don't know if you guys caught this, but I mean, Solana has been bleeding severely. It's been hemorrhaging, like really nasty. And then like, I think it was, I woke up and it was like here. This is where it was when I woke up. So just around there. And then it dropped a further like whatever percent. That was Let's have a look. It dropped like a further 8%, 8.5%, something like that. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it goes up. Like it was rallying to begin with. Like I thought this was just going to be like a little dead cat bounce, like relief. And then like, you know, carry on back to the downtrend. But it got this massive pump. So measuring it from the very bottom to up here, it's like 36% from bottom to top there. And yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with Solana. It's very hard to read. It looks like it's so hard to tell because you just don't know where money's coming from in and out of it. Like it's anyone's guess. You know, especially from this position. Like, do you think it's gonna get back on trend and crash again, or is there gonna be this random like relief structure that comes up and reclaims some of that value? So hard to tell. So hard to tell. I guess the only way you could really play it is on the short time frame. Follow like the market structure, like we were doing yesterday, and just look for, you know, break of structure and trade to the break of structure. So right now it's suggesting there might be a pivot, that being like the pivot point, and then we've changed character there. See that? So yeah, if you were feeling game, like just purely as an example, you could open a short at this position because it's just changed character, right? Set the stop loss just above the recent swing high, which would be like roughly there, and then target, you know, 1.5 risk to reward and see how that goes. So I'll come back to that. Let's just let that play out. It's either going to get stopped out or it's going to go into profit. We'll see how we go. But anyway, let's go back to Bitcoin. Let's begin with Bitcoin. We know SPY had a good day yesterday, or today. And how's the dollar index going? So that pulled back, which is probably what caused the positive day for the SPY, I'm guessing. But yeah, a nice little retracement there. Still haven't created any new lows, which is this purple line here for the year. But it's definitely on the cards. Like, there's no sign of real strength just yet with the DXY. It seems to just be like rounding out and flattening right now, squeezing. It's squeezing towards something. See that there's some kind of like a bear pennant forming right now on it. So I might actually draw a shape around that and we'll track it over the coming days. We'll see if it does anything special. Alright, so we'll get it to like maybe there. And then get a line of resistance on this side. So this is out on the hourly chart. So the apex for this comes out into the 10th of January. So there's still a lot of time there for that to chop sideways still. Make that blue. So yeah, that's the Get this all perfect and beautiful. There we go. OCD. All right, so this is a bear pennant on the S&P. There, we've capped out some resistance here. If we get a continuation of the trend, it would be, dropping out of this pattern and heading down, through the early part of January. But we'll see how it goes. I mean, it's still very early. It's not a confirmed pattern just yet. Like, we could get a break here, and if we attack that high there, then there could be another test of this resistance, which would essentially be another lower high. But yeah, my gut feeling's telling me like that this is gonna break down before it goes up. So that's the S&P. Now we've got that CPI line. So for me, it's Friday the 13th of January. I'm gonna mark that up on the SPY chart as well. So 13th, Friday the 13th. Is that an omen? You go to the calendar here. I just want to make sure. So now this is set to. Let's get it to Brisbane time. Go back to the calendar. Okay, CPI, Thursday, January 12 at 11:30 p.m. So it's pretty much midnight Thursday, January 12. Okay. Pretty much, yeah. Friday the 13th is the line. So I'll find that on the chart here. Right about, yeah, there. That in, add some text, let's call it CPI. Okay. So we should see a resolution for this. This should resolve before CPI. I'm just trying to see what this yellow line is. Okay, that's this major pivot over here. Now, why did we pivot there? Is there any big reasons? Let's go to the daily and zoom out a bit. Okay, so there was almost a pivot off that line here. Not quite, it didn't quite hit. There's a couple of examples of support just over here. Yeah, that's a fairly key pivot to be paying attention to. Not to mention, if we do break that and we lose it, there's this major pivot as well. So yeah, could we get like a flush down before CPI down to test that low, and then building up into CPI? If it's positive, we'll get like a bit of a rally there, and then maybe that only gets so high and then gets back on track to be a downtrend. I don't know, we'll see how it goes, but we've got it all planned out and plotted out. There's still about 2 weeks until that date, so nothing to get too excited about just yet. How many hours, how many days? 13 days. So just under 2 weeks. Now, if I go to the smart money indicator here, let's just see how we're going. So I might change up this RSI. I'm going to delete that and bring in the divergence indicator, which is an RSI anyway. It indicates where the divergences are living chart. So on the hourly time frame, you can see we were dealing with a fair bit of bullish divergence, which is potentially why we're getting this little uptick here. nice little sign of support at the trend line here, the blue trend line, which is basically $16,500. And just taking a Fibonacci retracement as well, just to see if there's any key levels that we're looking at. So the 382 fib level has been causing a little bit of resistance as we've been trying to fight to get back up. You can see there was reactions off the 236 as well, like off this pivot here, and these clean rejections here. But we punched through that since, and this is the current level we're fighting. So price to beat 16,660, basically 6666. That evil level. And from a larger perspective, this drop here, you're interested to see what levels that was, levels of resistance we met. Okay, so there's a pretty clean test of the 382 on this higher time frame, this larger structure, and we have since like ducked back below the 236, copped resistance on it here and here. If we zoom in, so here and here, just could not get back on top of it just yet. So that's the, I guess that's the fib level to beat from that larger drop, measuring that drop. But yeah, let's go back down to the 1 minute, because we were playing around on the 1 minute yesterday with just scalping. I think it was around, so the 29th at like, okay, this is where the daily opened. Yes, I remember the structure. We were like in here, and it was a, who can remember, was it a long or a short that we were taking? I think it was a long. 10 o'clock was the daily, so back here. That's right, we were looking at this structure here. By the way, we're 14 minutes into the new day, and it's currently slightly down. Forgot to mention that. Yeah, this is where we were. Let's zoom in on that. And I think we set up along, I think we were looking at the break of structure of this, maybe? Yeah, it was this, wasn't it? It was up this high here, and we got a break of that, and we took a long position with a stop loss below the previous low point. So it looked something like this, I believe. We were targeting 1.5, and we had our stop set just below the previous swing low, and we fell short, didn't we? So this was probably a little higher, because I remember we didn't quite get the target, like fell short some. So maybe it was something like that. And then we were talking about, like, how can you improve it so that, you know, you do take profit still on a 1 minute chart with volatility being low, and that is to reduce your risk to reward ratio slightly, make it a bit more achievable, maybe a 1.2. When you're this is micro scalping, so it's like roughly the shortest time frame, unless you've got a paid version of TradingView. It is the shortest time frame to scalp on. So it definitely made 1-to-1. So if you did take profit in that area, like following a similar kind of scalp, then awesome. But otherwise, what happened since then? So this was yesterday's stream. If I just circle 10 o'clock, because that's when the daily candle closes for me, 10 a.m. So right there. And we were here for all of this. and then it started correcting. I think I ended the stream somewhere in this area, I think. And then, okay, so since then, where have we been? We've been chopping sideways, but mostly up. It's been a big old recovery. Some nice trends here, like there's, if you capture this, and then this, and then there's a nice pivot up to here, and then a bit of a short. It's kind of like a very shallow slope there, and then it's been a shallow drive up to the next high here. So yeah, some very gentle trends going on now. And I wouldn't be targeting 1.5. I'd be targeting 1.2 risk to reward on the scalps. But if you're looking for the bigger play, obviously there's going to be a setup that'll suit that swing trading style coming up, I think, just because we're on like a fairly critical level right now. We're at support of a trend, just a trend line. Hey Noodle with the super chat. If your shirt isn't tucked into your pants, are your pants rucked into your shirt? Are your pants tucked? Rucked? Good question. I don't know. Do you have the answer, Noodle? I don't have the answer to that. Are your pants tucked into your shirt? Yeah, I guess they are. Your pants are tucked into your shirt if you've got your shirt out. Yes. Clive says, I think that there is finally a disconnect between the Dow Jones and Bitcoin crypto. It had a 60% correlation last year, according to JP Morgan. Yeah, there you go. Well, I was looking at that the other day, actually. So if I go to the daily chart, let me hide some of these lines just so that we can focus in on. By the way, my liquidation is now below the COVID dip. We managed to get it, out of trouble. I mean, it's not perfectly out of harm's way, but it's down to like, what is it, 3,444 roughly. Anyway, let me hide all these lines just so we can focus in on what I'm about to show you. Now these lines, let's get these hidden away too. What have we got? Trend. I'll just put all these into recent TA so that we can hide everything like that. And let's go full screen, and we want to compare. So maybe we could jump out onto the weekly chart and just hit reset so we can frame everything up. You can see the years there. Now if I hit plus, I want to add in the S&P 500, which is this one on a new price scale. So you can see the dip lines up there nicely. We've got the US 30, which is the Dow Jones. Let's get that in, which is the blue. So we've got the S&P 500, the Dow Jones, and what's the other one? The NASDAQ, the 100, which is the yellow. So there were probably, moments where the blue was most correlated. But of late, I mean, this is like using a different scale. Let me turn logarithmic on. Let's see where there might be correlation. Which one's got... It's hard to pick. Obviously, you can see if we take a measure from all-time high, like everyone starts at the same level as far as price scale goes. Crypto, Bitcoin's the furthest down. Obviously, everyone leaves crypto quickly because it's a way higher risk asset compared to any of these stock indexes, right? So The NASDAQ has fallen the most severe. And then what's this? The S&P's in the middle. And then we got the Dow Jones up here. So the Dow actually did really well to like recover off its dip so far. Like it hasn't dipped as severe as the others. The S&P is like roughly here. And then we've got the NASDAQ. I'll just say NDX. And we got BTC down here. So just from like a performance perspective, Bitcoin has crashed the heaviest. Now that sort of, to me, that means, yes, the S&P 500 could crash, but that doesn't mean that Bitcoin has to do a mirror crash as well. You know what I mean? So these boys here, these three, have a lot more room to fall. Whereas Bitcoin to me is like, it's almost on the floor. Like here's the floor down here, there's 0. Bitcoin, I mean, obviously Bitcoin can come down further if it really needs to, right? If it's going to do that. But look how elevated the Dow Jones is still. Like it's in the ballpark of its all-time high. It's not terribly far away, right? The S&P, yeah, but you know, the NASDAQ is shot. It's a lot more shot than the S&P is and the Dow Jones. So that's the way I see this the performance of each. And then the interesting thing is they all have a similar kind of pinning on the. This was the crash of the COVID crash, right? That we all refer to. Don't say the dirty word. But yeah, it looks like the stock market got off to a ripping start. About the same time as the S&P. Anyway, going down a bit of a rabbit hole there. Yeah, interesting way to look at stocks versus Bitcoin. They're so very different, right? It's a very different class of asset. Crypto's highly volatile, a lot more riskier in that sense, but you get a lot more, well, arguably you get more percentage performance out of Bitcoin than you would, you know, the stock indexes, right? Now, let's bring back recent TAN levels. We'll We'll see how today's shaping up. So we're still holding this level so far. So today started here. We have not yet lost this uptrend just yet, so it's looking okay. But yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to cover today. This was always going to be a brief stream anyway, because I do have to take off soon. But yeah, wanted to make sure I came on and touch base with you guys and just give you an update on what I see. Now on the higher time frame, let's go to the 4-hour chart real quick. Or maybe it's the 1 hour. Yeah, the 1 hour chart. There is, yeah, somewhat of an inverse head and shoulders happening. You know, we've come off, you know, lower lows, and now we're getting higher lows. So there's like hints at a bit of a pivot going on here. So we could get a bit of a relief trend coming back up, but how high that goes, it's hard to say. You know, we just have to play it as it comes. I'll be able to do a bit more of a deep dive tomorrow, like so same time tomorrow, the close of the daily candle for Bitcoin. But yeah, hang in there, guys, and you know, maybe you'll catch some alts on trend today. Solana's doing some interesting things lately, so if you want to be a cowboy or a cowgirl and try and trade that, by all means, go for it. Just be careful. Anyway, I'll wrap it up there. Thanks for tuning in, guys. And yeah, hit the like button if you haven't already. Smash it up before we wrap the stream up. And yeah, have a lovely afternoon, evening, day, wherever you are. And I'll see you on the next one. All right, see ya.